Hello, I'm here with Niall Woods, otherwise known as Nylophone. So thanks for joining me again, Niall.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so so it hasn't been that long since we last spoke, to be honest. But for anyone that hasn't heard our last interview, can you start off by kind of giving us a bit of an introduction to yourself and your music?
I suppose I'm based in Wicklow, teaching piano and guitar for the most part, and I haven't done that for the last basically for almost a year at this stage because of coronavirus.
Okay.
So the whole time I've been writing music for years and started putting it out this year. So there's lots of stuff to get out there, but
Can you
um,
go into a bit more detail, I suppose, about your history of music and kind of get into what your style is and what your taste is and kind of give us an idea as to your
sure.
personality, let's say.
Yeah, well, like you would call it maybe indie,
Yeah.
like kind of maybe alternative poppy type stuff. I try to make it quite melodic and sweet, with like maybe a little bit edgy, maybe not
Okay.
totally um sugar coated, but I like sweet melodies and things. But yeah, it comes out sounding maybe kind of a little bit indie or alternative. But I mean, when I listen to music, I mean these days I literally just listen to like 10 seconds of the same right. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try to play in my life. I try to play a lot of different styles. Like I
Yeah.
play a bit of jazz. I play classical. I right now I'm actually in the middle of trying to write. I've got my mandolin here. I do this thing once a year where on Patrick's Day I try to like write a bit of trad music just as an
Okay.
exercise. So I'm in the middle of doing that right now. But I don't know. I'm sure all those influences are in the music that I put out there. But yeah, the music I it's described as dream pop. I've heard people say dream pop.
Okay. Okay.
So
But do any names come to mind? Any particular artists or anyone in particular that has served as an influence to you or your music?
yeah, well, I mean the artists I really, I mean, I love. I suppose I love them. I guess I don't listen to them so much anymore because I've listened to them so much that I almost like I have them etched into my brain that I don't even need to play it anymore. But if you were to ask me like who my favorite people ever are, it's probably would be like Brian Wilson,
Okay.
Beach Boys, or Del Shannon, or people from the '60s. But
Mm.
as regards like that stuff, I don't necessarily find that stuff inspiring because it's so good. I think I could never do that. But modern bands, when I hear like I quite like this guy called Ariel Pink, and I listen to a lot of Tame Impala, like, and John Mace, and I can't say that I love it or anything like that. I mean, I definitely like it, but I don't know, just I find that music encouraging because it sounds like it's done by someone just at home fiddling around with good songs. So that's encouraging to make you try to want to make music, I
Okay.
suppose.
So for you, it's less so about you know, I suppose emulating or kind of emulating the people that you really like. It's more so listening to something and thinking like, oh, I can try this, or maybe I can do my own take on that. Was that something that you would agree with?
Um, I'm not, to be honest, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I mean, with music as a hobby,
Okay.
and like I don't really have an aim with it when I'm doing it. I'm like, in fact, maybe I should do more of that. Like I'm starting to think that maybe I should make this kind of style music that fits into this niche and this genre, and then it'll all fit together better. But at the like most of the time, what I'm doing is I have an experiment. I think I'd like to write a song like this, and then I'll write that song, and then the next song might be something totally different,
Mm.
and I'll do it that way. I'm starting pigeonhole myself a bit because what the problem is that I've got a lot of songs written, and some of them are like insane metal songs, some of them are folky songs, some of them are like kind of electronic songs, and they don't necessarily fit together. And usually what happens is one person who really likes one, like I'll have some people say, oh, I love that song, and then they'll hate like 80% of everything else. And then
Okay.
someone else will like a real heavy song I've done, and they'll say, oh, I love that heavy tune guitar and stuff, and like, what, I hate everything else. So I don't know, I haven't really thought about how to package it. What I've done at the moment is I've taken the songs that kind of I feel like fit together, have a similar kind of feel and aesthetic, and I've like that. Those are the ones I'm putting out at the moment.
Okay.
So,
So it's kind of experimental then. Would that be fair to say?
I'd say the music is pretty conventional, but like the songwriting process is experimental. The music is quite conventional in that, like, I'm not, you know, yeah, pop
Okay.
music for the most part. I love pop music, so
So yeah, it's more about the process then. It's more about the, let's say, experience of writing it, that like that's where the experimentation comes in. Is that
yeah,
fair to say?
that's the fun part. That's the fun
Okay.
bit, you know.
Yeah, so with that said then, you are releasing your new single on the 19th of March, and it's called Stay Asleep and Dream.
Yeah.
So can you kind of give us an introduction to the song and basically tell us what it's all about?
Well, it's about sleeping, I suppose, and I suppose maybe, not just literally sleeping, but I guess kind of being kind of disconnected and out of touch in a dreamlike state or something like that. And it's kind of a washy, kind of hazy, synth-filled thing with singing in it, melodic singing. I don't know.
But what's interesting about the song is who you collaborated with on the
Mhm.
song.
Yeah.
So kind of tell us about that whole side to the
Sure.
song.
So I wrote the song, yeah, like the way I just described, try to get as many sleep related uh, references into it. So I
Yeah.
heard of it called ASMR, which I'm still don't really know a huge amount about, but people use it to relax, and a lot of people play it to go to sleep, which is basically someone whispering softly,
Mm.
and apparently that's very relaxing to some people if you have the right headphones and things. So I reached out to someone who does that and asked them to put a little speaking part at this.
Yeah,
And
so you worked with Life with Mac, is that her
Life with
name?
Mac, yeah, that's her name, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you worked with her, and how did the kind of process go with getting her involved?
I just sent I just basically typed into Google ASMR. Hers was the first one that came up, and sent her an email just saying, "Hey, I'm making this music. Would you like to add a speaking part I've got at the start?" And she
Okay,
very kindly said yes. So
okay, very nice. And I suppose what was the inspiration to add something like that to the song? Was it just kind of a thing of, oh, like I know this is something that some people use to sleep, and maybe it would just kind of be a nice little extra thing to add in. I suppose what was
yeah,
kind of
yeah, that,
the
that was part of it. I also just kind of like the idea of a spoken part. You know,
yeah.
sometimes sometimes music has a little like spoken. Yeah, it's the theatrical or something.
And is that
I
something
don't
that you would like to do more of? I suppose introduce
spoken word parts in the middle.
introducing more kind of speaking parts or more kind of let's say storytelling into your music.
Probably not. No, probably not. No, I probably because
Okay.
two reasons. One, yeah, I mean, this, the spoken thing can be really nice, but I wouldn't want to overdo it. I mean, do it to a melody, but you don't have a spoken word part in every tune. And then the storytelling thing, storytelling, yeah, it tends to be more of a folk music type thing where you don't have
Hmm.
any choruses. You just have like 20 verses going and going and going and going, and a story unraveling. Whereas like songs that are kind of more verse chorus, they tend to have there is maybe a small story kind of story in the verses, but generally they're kind of more abstract and thematic. The chorus sometimes is just like one word or one phrase repeatedly, a story in that way. It's more like a statement. I don't know.
Okay. Um, is there a story at all to your music that you feel like you could tell through, I suppose, more spoken parts like that, do you feel that it's something that I suppose really doesn't fit your music at all?
No, I don't think there's really many stories in my music. I mean, I'm sure like everyone has their life story,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that like you might be able to glean, like some of the songs are love songs, some of the songs are this and about this, that, and the other, which I'm sure you could describe as a story, but it's not like doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end necessarily, like in a folk tune where it's
Okay.
like this happens and then this happened and this happened and this happened
Hmm.
and then in the end this happened.
Well, I suppose kind of getting back on subject with the new song, you're releasing it to coincide with International Sleep Day. So,
Yep.
was that on purpose or was that kind of a lucky coincidence on your part?
What happened is I entered a competition to get free PR from some people called Butter Wouldn't Melt, they seem to be really good and they're really nice and everything like that. And I won the competition, and they said I have one song in mind that I'd like to do with them, which I think, yeah, I think hopefully will go well. And we were originally going to do one song, and then I had this other song, this sleepy song that I'm releasing now, that I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just put that one out first. And I just said, yeah, it might be cool if that was significant to sleeping that I could put it out on. And I looked it up, and it turned out, yeah, International Sleep Day is on the 19th of March, which is the date we had actually decided on. So I was like, okay, that's a sign. I just put it out on that day. It gives me just enough time to finish it off and make a video and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, I did it on purpose, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, no, so like it kind of seems that, to me, at least it seems like the whole thing is coming to, is kind of it all it all kind of comes together. You have this song, this really kind of hazy, sleepy song. You have the song coming out on International Sleep Day, and you worked with live with Mac to bring in some vocals into the song. Do you
Mhm.
think that with the pandemic and everything, do you think that stuff like ASMR and that kind of thing that people use to relax, do you think that's kind of more important now because of, I suppose, the stresses that people are facing?
Um, the stats, like, has it gone up, the number of people using it? I couldn't say. So I don't actually know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of making an observation because it seems like more people are kind of dealing with stress and anxiety and that kind of thing. So I thought maybe it's the kind of thing that would be helpful to some people.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you might be right there. Yeah.
So I suppose, do you feel like that kind of collaboration is useful to both of you, like both you and Mac, in terms of kind of um, sharing audiences, let's say?
Um, I hope so. Yeah, it'd be nice if some of her fans liked my music, and likewise, it'd be nice for her, if some of my fans liked what she did.
Mm,
Like 300 fans tops, and she has like over a million. So it's not really a two-way street, you know. So,
okay,
but yeah, and maybe in the future, you never know. In the future,
okay.
if anyone's listening to this in the future, when I have 2 million fans, go check out Life with Mac.
Okay. So, we're actually running a bit low on time. I didn't, that's after flying, to be honest. But I suppose going forward, we kind of discussed this last time, but what are your plans for the future? Um, has it changed? Has your plans changed at all since we last spoke? I suppose what have you got in the pipeline?
Yeah, well, my plan is I've got at least four more tunes that are kind of fit on this, and what's eventually going to become an album, that are on their way to being ready to be put out. And I'm going to be putting one out roughly once a month or once every 2 months. And then yeah, there's yeah, like four more to go, basically. I'm going to wrap it up all and package it in the form of an album, put them all
Okay,
together in a
fantastic.
way that makes sense, release it on vinyl. And I'm probably going to give that vinyl away for free, basically, because
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think that people are doing me a favor by listening to the music. So if someone wants to throw money at me, that'd be amazing. But probably what I'll do is I'll just find people who like it the most and say, here, have this, because I'd be happy just now that they're listening to it. So
Okay, well, that's interesting. So yeah, if people want to, I suppose, keep up to date with the album and the music coming out, where should they look?
you can find me on Spotify, Facebook, um, everywhere else, Instagram, under Nylophone, which is like xylophone but starting with the letter N.
Okay.
So YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Spotify, you name it. And I think actually on Instagram it's Nylophonic, because Nylophone was taken somehow. So,
Okay.
but you'll find me there.
So yeah, this is Niall again, also known as Nylophone. So thanks again for joining me, Niall, and we'll keep in touch and wishing you all the best in the coming months.
Thanks, Dylan. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.